Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Nahmadu wa nusalli ala rasulil karim. Dan salam sejahtera kepada musi, tetap hormat dan akan disampaikan. Saya terima kasih penghormatan yang biasa UKEC yang saya ikuti sejarah awalnya, dan saya anggap sesi ini sebagai permulaan dan penerusan wacana yang segar dalam Malaysia baru kepemimpinan Tun Mahathir yang menjanjikan kebebasan India, kebebasan berfikir, malah mengangkat lebih dari itu, saya mengungkapkan creative mind. Dan ini ada kaitan relevan dalam perbincangan kita pagi ini. Jadi kepada pimpinan UKEC dan rakan-rakan yang mendukungnya, saya ucapkan terima kasih. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, the pleasure to first thank the honored guests here and my sons and daughters present here, and I believe are eager to see the direction and future of Malaysia. Our forefathers, namely the Anwar, Tugu Rahman, Burhanuddin, Mustafa. You see, I do not attempt to discriminate or ignore performances, contributions of our great leaders, which I believe was a mistake in the past administration. We may choose to agree or disagree ideologically with some of them, but they, in their own ways, did contribute immensely to the growth and development of this great country of ours. We have seen, for example, the strength of Tunku, whom I fought when I was a student leader, difference in some of his views or policies, but he was a great father for this country. We have seen the contribution of Raza, which was quite an exception, because he was one of the very few leaders who gave extremely great access to student leaders. Every time there was a small or big demonstration led by us in Kuala Lumpur, to Raza would then send his emissaries and invite us to Sri Padang for a dialogue session and dinner. That is the tradition that was lost in the following decades. I mentioned these great leaders because Dato' On was the creation of the old regime, colonial regime. But fortunately, he was very proficient in both Malay and English. He was a staunch fighter for Malay rights, but he had the vision for a new Malaya. These are glimpses of our history, which I think regrettably is not well understood and studied. And I believe the new Minister of Education must look at this. I've seen this young members of the younger generation. This is our history. This is what we inherit in the past. But we need to critically evaluate. Now we come to the next point. In the 70s, the late 1670s, when I was very much involved in student activism, not too much time in the lecture halls, unfortunately. In fact, Raza once joked with me. He said, I'm not praising myself, just quoting him. He said, your brilliance and oratory do not come from the lecture halls, but the speaker's corner. And he was right. So you actually learn inside. From your lecturers or professors, some are more animate to change, they have the propensity to support change or reform. Some, they may be called professors, they may have PhDs from LSE, so Oxford, and they become ultra-conservative in their thinking. These premier institutions are still useful, but it does not guarantee that you actually produce good students. Now, in the 70s, as I said, the standard text for our generation was Frantz Fanon. Frantz Fanon, which I would appeal to you to reread, for those who have not read or not familiar. Pedagogy of the Oppressed. French psychologist, supported the Algerian struggle, died very young of leukemia, but he believed that the battle against the colonial era will not succeed just by replacing the indigenous elites who represent the old views, the neo-feudalism, the same manner of oppression, denial of basic rights. And he had, in that study, envisioned most of African leaders would fall into this trap. We have blacks replacing the whites, but having a complete white mindset. We have Bumiputras replacing the Masaleks, but having the same attitude, condescending view towards their citizenry, that citizens, either the Malays in the villages or the Dayaks in the rural heartland, or the Chinese quarters or the Indian estate workers, semi-literate, and we decide what is best for you all. There's no opportunity for adequate reasoned discourse. This is the central matter, key issue, fundamental, that I would like you to share. That UKEC must look forward in this new environment, listening to all views. You had heard the Prime Minister, I'm sure some of the opposition leaders. You must realize that you must represent the conscience of the majority of our people. You must not, you will not be relevant to the struggle of this country, the building of this nation, if you represent the views of a small coterie of elites that do not represent the conscience of the majority. The majority are still poor. The type of neglect, marginalization continues after 60 years of independence. And we must create the thinking element in our society that could represent their conscience, stop the corruption, end this racism, and deal with the new emergence of this Islamism or fanaticism that's creeping into our midst. I'm passionate about these views. I've suffered immensely, almost 11 years of imprisonment. I have no regrets. Unlike Frank Sinatra's smiley regrets, yes, I have a few. I don't have regrets. I think more with Adele, all I ask. That took this, I was not aware of the sort, and we must learn for our children and my grandchildren. So you're familiar with the Samson, etc. And you have Khadija still talking about Piramli and Elvis Presley. Now, I'm passionate because this is a rare occasion. Not, it is clearly unique. This peaceful transformation from a semi-autocratic, corrupt regime to a new order with the loss of one life is phenomenal in the history of the world in recent times. Now, but we must ensure that this spirit of reform, an independent judiciary, a free media, good governance that can rid the country of endemic corruption, this propensity for opulence and expensive lifestyles of leaders, which amazingly was addressed eloquently by Tunku Raja Nazri last few days. This, my sons and daughters, must end. You represent this new creed. Study very hard, excel with some brilliance, and understand that knowledge and love for scholarship is not scholarship that tends in terms of money, not the ambience of this great international hotel, but what Sayyidina Ali remarked when asked about love for knowledge. Why are you so obsessed with learning and understanding and comprehending and dialogue and discourse? He gave this, the answer was, Lazzatul Ma'rifah. It is just love for scholarship, love for knowledge for itself, the beauty and the wisdom. And of course, you must, through this sort of practice, dialogue, discussion, and creative mind was a term popularized by the great sociologist Syed Hussein Alatas, which I believe should be also a text that you must refer as a background to some future courses, captive mind in development studies. So I'll give you some. Sayyid Ali mentioned Lazzatul Ma'rifah, the love for the wisdom that is there in the knowledge. Not because I'm going to be a great executive in the bank, or a good manager, or a good politician. It's Lazzatul Ma'rifah, which precisely means the love of knowledge, the wisdom, and the scholarship. And Hussein Alatas referred to captive mind in development studies, and early trying to understand and liberating yourself from these obsolete ideas of the past. That we have to read Frantz Fanon, The Pedagogy of the Oppressed. And finally, when I mentioned information and wisdom, this is T.S. Eliot, right? T.S. Eliot. What's lost? He categorized very Christian and very Islamic when he talks about the differentiation between information, knowledge, and wisdom. Maklumat, ilmu, dan hikmah. Ma'rifah. Finally, this great Spanish philosopher, which my lectures at Georgetown University or Harvard, I had not the occasion to enter any local universities in the past. Hopefully now, yes, for sure, now it is possible. I made the point that my students read the works of the great philosopher, Spanish philosopher, Ortega y Gasset, Rebellion de las Masas. Not the Spanish original. Not many can comprehend that. Revolt of the masses. Not talking about the revolution of the masses, but in terms of the attempt to free the minds from modern oppressive views, because the power and influence of the rich and the corrupt is so pervasive in our society that you must be able to free yourself from the machinations of the ruling clique or establishment. Thank you. Terima kasih. Domo arigato.